All right. I did not mean to go ahead and live on this one, but whatever. Let's go with it. Okay, let's do this. Oh, desirable. Outcomes. All right. We're going to do it, guys. I was meaning to push this off for another day, procrastinate for another day. Don't need to do that. Let's get it. Because I have things, other things, project stuff that I'm working on. And it's irrelevant. Let's get this out of the way. I don't like to do things like that. Let me just do this to get it out of the way. I don't think that's the best way to go about things. That way I can read. Oh yeah, I can read everybody's comments. Okay. Hello. Everybody that's in, just say hi, welcome. Right now there's not any activity, so don't worry about it. 7 sides of the new IQ. This is how you utilize mass manufacture stupidity to your advantage. You might look around in the world and notice that there are a lot of people that just aren't thinking. And today we're going to talk about what intelligence is on a bigger, broader point of view. So this way why are we doing this? Basically drop a little head exploding thing. If you're ready to stop tolerating stupidity in the society, you might look around in the world and wonder, how are humans still alive as a species? When you see how people drive, when you see how people think and walk and talk, and celebrities and politicians, it's like, how is the species still existing? Well, a big part of it is that we've killed off all the other apex predators and made it impossible for them to eat the children that didn't have the mental capacity to pass on their genetics. So, just as a let me let you guys know, this talk is not based on any research citations. This is just lived reality, lived observations. Yes, I've done a lot of research in human development and, did anatomy and physiology. Taught it at the college level over 12 years ago, 14 years ago. And yeah, okay, I have that background, and I've read the studies on intelligence and even race-based intelligence. Okay, so I've done some research, but I'm not drawing on any of that consciously currently. I'm just going off the top of my head. I do have a script that I'm making myself follow, but so don't take this to the bank, all right? Do your own research. What I'm providing here is a framework for holistic intelligence, okay? You can actually exploit societal stupidity for your win. You can exploit societal stupidity for your success. I used to get really frustrated and angry at people because I was like, man, they're so dumb. Or why is it like their brains aren't functioning? I get it that the big man with the big stick and that pays your bills told you to do ABC. But why didn't you just use your own brain and think? So I'm getting the bad signal. So I may have to just say, hello, Ivy. Eva Isaac. Hello. Hi to you. Thank you for joining. Do you ever, Eva, look around in the world and go, man, people are stupid? Like, I'm glad you're doing great. Do you ever look in the world and you go, man, I don't know how this species has made it this far. I do not know how we've done it. Lyndon, welcome. Thank you for joining. Lyndon G. So we're talking today about a well-rounded holistic intelligence. Holistic intelligence. Holistic intelligence is something that we're not taught in schools. Again, my research is in human development. My focus was on sexuality, spirituality, and identity. But I'm Eve. Okay, thank you. Evie. I like that. Evie, I like that name. There's a wonderful singer named Evie that I grew up with that I absolutely adored. So thank you for joining. If you guys have looked around in the world and said, man, people are just so stupid, drop one of those emojis with the head going like boom, because that's what when I type it in, it gives me an emoji, and I don't know how to call that emoji. But it's the one where the little person's head is going exploding, okay? Anyway, I'm sharing this with people just because I want to put this out there, and hopefully it will help you to realize that you are far more intelligent than the masses, and you don't have to get frustrated when you see a world full of stupid people. You can actually exploit their stupidity and win. And it's actually a very good, positive, pro-human thing to do. Okay, you're helping the species, all right? Lyndon says, sometimes they are, but not all the time. I can agree with you when people are stupid, but they're not always. You're absolutely right. People are not always stupid. You're absolutely right. And I'm going to be honest with you. I wrote this when I was dealing with some stupid people and I was very frustrated. And I was just like, so angry. And now I'm like, that was too much. So I've changed my tune, okay? Let's see. And then Evie says, I'm nice and I don't say people are dumb. They aren't dumb. They are smart. That's because you're smart. And, you know, we see in the world how we see ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. Say funny stuff. Okay. All right. So today we're going to be talking about the 7 signs of high intelligence that are not talked about. I've not seen them talked about in any other place. And, you know, again, I've taught for like close to 2 decades. I've traveled the world. I've had spiritual downloads and all this stuff. And I've observed how people generally, hello and welcome, Mahmoud. Oh, Mahmoud. Thank you for joining. I'll say what they say. And be honest, I mean, like, isn't, okay. Linda said, isn't part of being stupid a part about, let's see. And to be honest, let me actually read what you're saying. And to be honest, I mean, like, isn't being stupid a part of being human? Don't come from monkey after all. Some humans come from monkeys. Not all humans come from monkeys. And that's a pejorative statement. It's not true. I believe that humans are related to monkeys, but I don't think there's enough conclusive evidence that we are actually descendants of monkeys. If you look at the genetics, just look this up online. You can do an AI Google search. We are 98 to 99% related to pigs. We are more related to pigs than we are to orangutans. We only have like, I think 80 or 79% genetic affinity with orangutans. The only well, they're not monkeys, they're apes. The only great apes that we're related to very closely are the chimpanzees and the bonobos. And they're 98% affinity with humans. And by the way, that fluctuates depending on your genetic makeup and your ancestry. So some people are a little closer to the great apes than others. I hate to say it, but then it's an individual thing. But we're actually just as close genetically to pigs. So I'm not convinced that we actually come from monkeys at all. I think that's a stupid lie that we've been told by science, that science is not real science. And I'm going to talk about that in here. We have 7 dimensions of intelligence we're going to talk about. So Mahmoud is, looks like he's crying there. I hope you're not too crying. Hello, Mahmoud, or Mahmoud. Mahmoud, or it's either Mahmoud or Muhammad. I don't know how you're using the transliteration in English. All right, well, thank you. Please say some funny stuff. How old are you, young lady? Evie. I'll say funny stuff throughout the talk. Funny stuff. I just said funny stuff. There you go. So anyway, humans are not born stupid, okay? Humans are actually trained to be stupid. Stupidity is an evolutionarily dangerous thing to have. Like, stupid animals are what we call prey animals. Like, if you have a group of deer and one of them is stupid, that one is called lion dinner, or I don't know, wolf dinner. Stupidity is not an evolutionarily sound adaptation. However, stupidity is something that allows a lot of people to succeed in society. If you allow someone to tell you that you came from monkeys, I hate to say it, you're not stupid for believing this. A lot of people believe it so. But if you look at monkeys, you might say, okay, they have 5 fingers. They kind of got feet like humans. They kind of look like humans. As a matter of fact, that one looks like my uncle. Like, you might be like, okay, well, we do come from monkeys. But then when you do the genetics research and you actually see that there are no animals on planet Earth that have ever transitioned from one true full species. I'm not talking about lions and tigers. They're the same species, even though they lie about it. But true full species to another full species has never happened ever, ever, ever in the genetic history forever and ever. Amen. There is no missing link. So I think humans have always been humans since the time we were manufactured in a lab or created by a god or whatever you want to believe. I think humans have always been humans because they have found anatomically human skeletal remains that are well over 200,000 years old, which is what they say our genetics says we're as old as. But they have found human remains in strata that are 5 million years old. They have found human remains that are giant, that have been petrified. turned into carbonate, like stone and quartz and stuff like that. So, and they found human footprints in rock beds that are apparently millions of years old. So I do not believe we came from monkeys. I don't think there's enough evidence to support that. They're starting to actually rewrite that now that genetics is becoming more mainstream. All right. So did I make you lose track of what you were talking about? No, but I'm going to get back on it then. No, I made myself lose track. Well, thank you, Lyndon. All right. So humans are not born stupid. Every single child that I've interacted with that's under the age of 5 generally is really smart. I mean, they're brilliant little creatures. I call children human-shaped animals because actually that's what they are. So cute. Anyway, so almost every child under the age of 5, unless they are born to an iPad, has a brilliance baked in. But somewhere in between kindergarten and adulthood, that brilliance, that intelligence, that light dies. And so you start to see this zombie stare kind of appearing in the eyes of children. And that usually happens around age 5 when kids go to school. And so we all are brilliant in the beginning, okay? I am Groot. That's not what my mom says. All right, thank you for joining. I am Groot. I am Groot. You did a good job for getting that name. That would have been a hard name to get. Anyway, so here we are. A lot of people functioning in society and not using their God-given intelligence. They're not using their inner genius. They're not tapping into their apex humanity. And so why is that happening? All right, that's because we live in a matrix that suppresses intelligence and standardizes obedience. But you're not here to be standardized. You're here to excel. You're here to express your apex humanity and live your best life now, today, tapping into the Most High God. So you're here because you're apex. If you're liking the video, if you're subscribing, and if you're commenting below. We are here to create, to captivate, and to dominate. That is our purpose here as apex humans. All right. So Linda says, yeah, no one's stupid, just different levels of intelligence. And we're going to get into that. This is a good statement. Look, Lyndon, I'm sorry. You might be very young. There are a lot of stupid, I was going to drop like 3 F-bombs. A lot of stupid people in the world. I hate to say it. And I'm going to explain why. Stupidity, I think we can bring that word back and use it on people. Okay? I think we can. Think about, and I don't want to invoke the Nazis, but think about the Nazis. They were like, okay, let me just kill my neighbors who are Jewish. That's not intelligent. That's stupid. Look at what happened to Germany as a result of the people being stupid and not thinking for themselves. That's what I'm referring to as stupidity. All right? So just following the herd and not using your own heart, your own brain, that's stupidity ultimately. But we're going to actually talk about intelligence, and we'll step away from stupidity because I don't actually want to increase the stupidity in the world. Okay? Yeah. You're colorblind, Jackson Jones. Willfully ignorant. Yeah, there's a lot of willfully ignorant people. So, well, let's talk about what intelligence is. Holistic intelligence is something they do not teach in school because if they did, you'd be independent, you'd be rich, you'd be happy, you'd have the husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, family, whatever life, career that you wanted. And then you wouldn't have to look up to the pastor, to the priest, to the imam, to the rabbi, to the politician, to the teacher, to the professor, to whoever, to say, hey, can you tell me how to live and exist? How many studies have come out that told people, hey, eat this food, it's going to fix all your problems. Kale is the best thing since air. Eat kale. And then they find out that like kale is actually poisonous for a lot of people, and there are people eating all this kale and like their faces are blowing up, and meaning like swelling up and stuff like that. And then people are having autoimmune issues because they're eating too much kale, right? And so when you have intelligence, no one can come to you and say, oh, hey, smoke cigarettes, that's good for your health. You know that doctors and scientists used to say that like 100 years ago? Smoke cigarettes, it's good for your health. That's what they used to say. Unfortunately, there's this little thing called stupidity, and it's really just conformity. So we look to the guy. A man walks in with a white lab jacket on, and he says, hey, the studies say that if you smoke a cigarette and then, I was going to say something terrible, and do all these things, then you're going to live to 85. No. Okay. Well, every time I smoke the cigarettes, I feel terrible afterwards. I want to throw up. Like, I never could smoke cigarettes, by the way. I tried many times. Ugh. I literally would throw up. Anytime I took nicotine or any form of nicotine, I would get really sick. Thank you, Jesus, that I'm not, I don't do well with that stuff. So yeah, I know what you mean. Lyndon says, I know what you mean. Like if someone does something they shouldn't do on purpose, yes, when they know they shouldn't, that's a phrase where I would call them stupid. But sometimes they don't know. You're absolutely right. And we're going to talk about those caveats. So there are 5 normal reasons for low intelligence, and I'm not going to call these people stupid. When these 5 things happen, these people are not stupid. These are just unforeseen circumstances, and God bless them. We're not going to ever call these people stupid. When someone has a health issue that impacts their ability to think, that's not a stupid person. That's just someone who's dealing with a difficult time. Let's get them medical attention. Let's get them therapy, whatever they need, so they can think in a way that helps them to be independent and happy in life. Okay, that's the number one. Second is congenital defects. There are people that are born with congenital problems like a Down syndrome or very advanced forms of autism and things like that. These are not stupid people. These are actually some of the most intelligent people in society. There are people that are born with congenital defects that prevents them from being able to reason, to use logic, to count from 1 to 3. These are not stupid people. These people are spiritually intelligent and they are profoundly important for society. Okay? So these are not people we're considering stupid. The fourth group third are learning curves. Everybody's on a learning curve, just like you said earlier, Lyndon, and other people pointed out, like, you smoke. I know I shouldn't, unfortunately. But look, smoking does not necessarily make you stupid. If smoking serves you, then smoke. I just said it. Smoking doesn't serve everybody. And then there was a period of time when the doctors were saying, yeah, you should smoke. You can live longer if you smoke. And now they're saying if you smoke, you're going to die immediately. If you put a cigarette in your mouth, your head is going to explode. They have all these commercials. They make people stupid. I'm going to get into the intelligence that allows you to know what works for you. There are people that I have personally known that are smoking at 101 years old and still driving their Ford truck 1950. What, smoking's bad for them? Apparently they're doing something right. So don't think that just because some lab coat egghead told you that something was right or wrong, that it's right or wrong. Again, you've got to use your own intelligence. So let's go on to the fourth group that we're not going to call stupid. We're not going to pick on them. These are people that are sleep deprived. A lot of people don't know that grinding and working hard, I only get 4 hours of sleep and that's killing it. No, you're not. Your brain needs 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. You need it. So, it's going to, I know, look, if I deprive myself of sleep, I know that my ability to cogitate or my ability to think is completely deprived. It's completely knocked down. So just keep that in mind. And then, of course, poor nutrition. There are people that are starving and they eat 3 square meals every day. That's because the food we eat is not food. It is poisonous belly filler, and it does not give you the nutrition you need. Give you the nutrition you need. So these are 5 areas where intelligence will dip. They're not, this is not systemic like stupidity. This is just things that people deal with. And if someone's dealing with that, we're not going to call them stupid, okay? This is, of course, we're going to talk about engineered, deliberate, systemic stupidity that everybody goes along with, which the Bible completely tells you don't do. But anyway, let me see. There's a lot of activity there. Lyndon says 3, yeah. I'm on a learning card. Yeah, I'm intellectually delayed. That's totally fine. And intellectually delayed means you're probably smarter than most of the people you meet. It's a low level, but I can't intellectually learn that everyone else, learn that like everybody else. But I am better at creative intelligence. See, if you have a creative intelligence, we're going to talk about. So creative intelligence is one of the 7 dimensions of intelligence. In society, they never tell you that being creatively intelligent is intelligent. They say, oh yeah, that's intelligent, but it's one of those side backdoor, okay, maybe you're intelligent. They try to belittle creative intelligence and treat you like you're nothing. Oh, creative intelligence? Oh, they do that. But no, creative intelligence is one of the high forms of intelligence. That's where all of our inventions, solutions, technology comes from. Creative intelligence, okay? So I Am Groot says, yeah, I've been smoking for 34 years. Listen, Groot, if it works for you, genuinely, now get your nutrition, work your body out, drink plenty of water, do whatever you can to offset it. Get the kind of cigars and cigarettes that are good for your body. Probably don't take it all the way into your lungs, homie. But other than that, if it's working for you, it's working for you. Just do whatever you can to enhance other areas of your life. Now, I will say that, look, not smoking is probably more positive for your health than smoking. But if smoking gives you the relief that offsets the stress that you would have not smoking, I'm not a doctor, but, and don't take my advice because I'm not a doctor, but again, take this with a grain of salt, just coming off the dome, all right? All right, Chippy, oh, 1, 2, 3, welcome and hello. All right, Angry says, my gut is trash. I've had more nerve damage all around my midsection from shingles. God bless you. Now, maybe look into how to take care of yourself, I am Groot. There are lots of ways to do it. And by the way, we're going to talk about that in this video. There are 7 dimensions of intelligence, and there are about 2 or 3 dimensions that you might want to work on that you already have. But all I have to do is say this exists, and then you're like, wait a second, of course it exists. And then you'll find everything you need for yourself, okay? So don't take care of your health, develop a good, healthy, low stress life if you can, and you're on the right path. All right, Lyndon G says, I'm going now. Have a good night. Thank you so much, Lyndon D, for joining. This will be posted later, so you can watch it later. Just drop a like before you drop out. Thank you. Yeah. No one's really stupid. At least usually we are who we are, and all matter no matter how high or low. Absolutely right. Thank you for that. Brazilian block high. I sometimes feel unhappy, but your videos of Christianity helps me learn. I appreciate that. I'm really glad. That keeps me going. Thank you so much, Brazilian block. I love it. So we're going to talk about the 7 dimensions of intelligence and what is holistic intelligence. So real quickly before we begin, we're going to define intelligence. Intelligence is a person's ability to access their inner guidance, all right, or your inner genius, and then apply its guidance for harmony toward your joy and your pursuit of what you desire. And that just means harmony. So it's like, one of our people here, I am Groot, smokes, okay? Can you, Groot, tap into your inner genius and find out why you're smoking? Because perhaps there is a reason that you're smoking, and that smoking is offering you a certain satiation or certain satisfaction that another area of your life is not. And if you get that satisfaction, the desire for smoke will, like I've actually, as I was a certified hypnotherapist, medical sport hypnotherapist for 7 years, seven years. And I had people that I'd work with that would quit smoking after a couple of hypnotherapy sessions because they realized that the smoking was solving a pain or an emptiness inside of them. When they fulfilled that emptiness, they stopped smoking because their body, their brain, their spirit didn't want it anymore. It's just like for me, there are certain things that I used to engage in, online materials, we'll put it that way because there are kids watching. And I used to watch those things regularly. And I used to feel so awful afterwards. This was years ago. And then I realized what was missing. There was a certain amount of self-love. And ever since then, I cannot bring myself to watch those things. Okay? And you know what I'm referring to if you're an adult male. All right? So, yeah. Thank you, I'm Groot. Thanks for subscribing. Why do people smoke? I just explained that. I think to a lot of it's just an emptiness in one's soul. But that's not always true. Listen, smoking has been around forever and ever and ever. Amen. Humans have been smoking since humans have been humans. But we smoked different things. What we've taken in the original way, I'm going to tell you guys this, and then I'll get back to it. In the original format, smoking was actually extremely healthy. Because what they would do is they would take herbs, they would put them under coals or something like that, and allow them to pass through water. So these were hookahs and bangs of various types throughout the world. And what they would do is these things would cool the smoke and remove some of the harsher impurities and then deliver to the lungs certain sedatives because your lungs are full of, this is the bare truth about why we smoke. The lungs are full of what are called bronchioles, okay? And these are air sacs in the lungs or sacs in the lungs that are surrounded by capillaries. And the capillaries are vessels in your body that transport blood cells. Okay, blood flows through the capillaries, and then oxygen travels from your blood cells into the tissues, and that's how your tissues live. All of our tissues are alive because of oxygen. When you're smoking, you're taking in substances that are also being transmitted through I'm not gonna get the deep, but the bronchioles. The bronchioles have these capillary beds around them, okay? And they will either transmit or pick up, so oxygen will leave the blood and travel into the lung tissue. And then if you're breathing in smoke or smoking or vaping, whatever's in that vape will go from the space in your lungs into your blood and then travel to your brain and other parts of your body and cause you to feel a certain way. And so ancient people would take, like the Egyptians would take blue lotus or some herbs, klip daga in South Africa, these other plants and flowers, and they would put them on coals and suck the smoke up through water, through a basin of water, like you do with the smoking bong, and the substances, the compounds inside the flowers would get into the lungs, but it would be purified by the water, and for the most part. And then the person would feel euphoric, they would feel strong, they would feel peace, whatever the compound in the flower or the herb was. And of course, marijuana as well is one of those. Cannabis was one of those flowers that was smoked as well. But that's basically why people smoke. It's smoking is as old as humans. And often people use it ceremonially, so they use it all the time. I digress. Let's see what we're going on here. Why do people smoke? I don't know why they think it feels good. Some people, look, it feels good to some people. Like I said, I've tried smoking so many times. It has never stuck for me. And I just knew it wasn't because I listened to my body. That's bodily intelligence. We're talking about it. Yeah, it messes up your lungs and your body, right? For a lot of people it does, but that's because of the type of substance. And also because of the psychosomatic placebo effect of, oh, you smoke, you're going to die. We've been saying that for 60 years now. So people do that and they smoke, and that's in the back of their brain. Oh, I'm killing myself slowly. It's a psychosomatic thing, and you eventually cause yourself to get sick in ways that you don't necessarily need to. So anyway, I'm doing deep dives here. But yeah, I've helped people get off of all kinds of things, eating too much, all that. Okay, so let's talk about the 7 dimensions. Okay, how do you figure that the first person got stoned? They probably were harvesting some food and burned something on a fire and were too close to the fire, and they noticed the fumes were getting them high, and they were like, every time I cook, because ancient people would kill an animal, and you can see this in Papua New Guinea and South Pacific and in the Amazon and places like that. They'll kill a big animal, they'll hack it into like 20 pieces, and then they'll dig a big pit in the ground, and they'll put hot stones in there, and then they'll cover with leaves, cover with branches, cover with twigs. When they're picking these leaves and stones off the animals, a lot of smoke, there's a lot of fumes coming off, and they're working really hard. So when you work really hard, what do? So you breathe it in. So they probably had some cannabis plants packed on the big old pig they were roasting or something. And then when they were doing, they were like, oh, I feel amazing. But then when I do it, when I cover it with banana leaves, I don't feel anything. When I cover it with other herbs, I don't feel anything. But this herb, so, that's me just being hypothetical. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I'm just giving you a hypothetical possibility of how it might have happened. All right. All right. They ate that pig. Yeah, they did eat that pig. They ate that poor fat pig. Oh, the pigs. I said in another video that I hate pigs. I take that back. I did a deep dive on pigs, and I actually fallen in love with them. But we're 98% genetically affiliated with pigs. I mean, we actually have 98 to 99% genetic affinity with pigs. Anyway, let me get back to it. So into the 7 dimensions of holistic intelligence are these. Anyone who is an egghead, like I have a 172 IQ and I can blah, 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 but they can't talk to girls. They don't. If you put them in the forest, they die in 2 days. Their face will swell up because a mosquito bit them. They're not intelligent, right? Or they drink bleach because they can't think. That's not intelligent. So let's go. You have to have all these 7 areas together, right? You can't just have one area of intelligence because then you're not intelligent. All right. All right. So the 7 areas of intelligence are these. Number 1 is intellectual intelligence. It's critical thinking, synthesis, logic, identity, conceptual clarity. Okay, that just means that you can look in the world and draw conclusions and come to sound conclusions. You're a very logical person. Your brain works in that capacity. All right. The second area is procreative sexual intelligence. Okay, this just means that you're able to identify a compatible mate. You're good with compatible mate selection, partnership strategies, procreation. There are a lot of guys that they're ugga bugga ooga booga guys, drive big trucks and holler at girls all day, but they have the suave. They can get any woman to jump in bed with them. They have procreative sexual intelligence. They know how to identify a woman that's going to say yes to their sexual advances, and they're just, hey, hey, mama, and then they're able to get with them. You know, those of us who are eggheads, and I'm talking about myself, and I'm not insulting myself. I'm just, you know, those of us who are extremely intellectually intelligent, high IQs and stuff like that, we don't always have that kind of charm and charisma. I have to actually turn my intellectual brain off when I talk to women and turn my lower brain on. And then I can have far more success. But I tend to live up here so much. People know me. They're like, dude, you're brilliant. You're so freaking brilliant, but you think too much. And so I know. But I'm developing the other 7 areas. Okay, number 3, emotional intelligence. This is your ability for regulation, emotional regulation, self-awareness, and energetic command. So women are very good at this because they are taught to be good at this, not because they're just naturally good at it. They are naturally good at it, but they're also taught to be that way. Fourth area is perceptual intelligence or perceptual physical intelligence. This means that you have embodiment awareness, awareness of space, and kinesthetic precision. You have proprioceptive intelligence. The word proprioception means you can feel your body and you know immediately what that means. There are people who will stub their toe and they don't even know they stubbed their toe. Oh, my ear is itching, and their foot's bleeding all over the place, right? Proprioceptive intelligence, there's a sixth sense called proprioception. And that's your ability to know, like, how do you know that your stomach aches? There are no nerve ending, well, there are, but there are no, like, uh, um, receptive nerve endings in your stomach to tell you that it aches. There are different types of, you do have nerve endings in your abdominal cavity that help you to tell different things, but all I'm saying is, you know how your body works and what it's telling you, okay? People who know how to dance really well and play basketball, you know who I'm talking about, and they like fried chicken and watermelon. These these people tend to be proprioceptively brilliant. Brilliant. Look at Michael Jackson. This guy created, well, he didn't create, but look at Michael Jackson, James Brown, Chris Brown, all of these dancing groups are like, ooh, the dancing guys. That's proprioceptive intelligence, okay? So then number 5 is pleasure intelligence. Okay, let me see what they say. Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. Um, Pleasure intelligence. This is the other sexual intelligence. There are 2 sexual intelligences that are very intelligent, are very important, but this is the second one, and it's number 5. Pleasure intelligence. That's co-creative sexual intelligence. This is the ability to bring new things into the world. So sexual intelligence doesn't just mean, oh, I see a woman, oh, she's hot, does she like me? Biggity, biggity, biggity. You know, and then, you know, you guys go get it on and make another human, right? But this is your ability to bring new things into the world. So it links up with procreative sexual intelligence because you can be a gay couple and you're not going to make a baby unless you go and do in vitro or adopt a child or something or use a surrogate, right? But you can be a gay couple and bring amazing things. As a matter of fact, some of our greatest inventions came from gay couples. But this was when they were closeted, right? They were closeted in the closet. And so, but they had a love together as a couple, and they brought something into the world that didn't exist before. And it was actually useful. It was like there was some mathematical geniuses that were that way. And then there was a computer scientist from like way back in the 1950s who was closeted gay. And he brought some amazing things in the world. Nobody knew he was gay until like he was dead or something like that. And there were multiple people like this. A lot of the Greek philosophers were gay. Let's be straight, guys. I mean, let's be gay about it. I don't know. Anyway, so the second form of sexual intelligence is pleasure intelligence related to bringing new things into the world. Because when you have that creative ability, like Elton John, Liberace, they were amazing musicians. They inspired many people, right? They had lovers, they had muses that helped them to bring a child into the world, but it was not a physical human child. And so that's the second form of pleasure intelligence, co-creative sexual intelligence, but it's number 5 on our list. All right, number 6 on the list, social intelligence. This is understanding human dynamics, community building, cooperative excellence. So you're one of those people, if you have social intelligence, you can look at a group of people and be like, okay, these 2 are going to make a great couple. Those 2 are going to break up in a year. You know what? I can get these 2 people to work together. I can get these 2 groups of people to fight each other. So that's social intelligence. And then the final 7 in our list is spiritual intelligence. This is probably the most important. And this is discernment of divine truth. Someone comes to you and says, hey, let's all drink this Kool-Aid because we can get a spaceship and go to the spaces, and then Jesus is going to come in a spaceship. Let's drink this Kool-Aid and die now so we can get on a spaceship. You're gonna go, yeah, that it makes no sense whatsoever. Duh, no, what? Okay. As discernment of divine truth, spiritual maturity, alignment with the Most High God. Spiritual maturity just means you have the ability to pick up on BS malarkey in the church and stuff like that. So you can know what the Most High is all about, and you're able to perceive the primary data stream. All right, we got a lot of activity here. Uh, I am mechanical, mathematical, and systematic. Yeah. So there are many, many areas, and we can develop all of these spheres of intelligence. Okay, you can definitely develop. And by the way, you may not need proprioceptual physical intelligence, right? Because you ain't trying to be a dancer, basketball player, person, right? But you do want to develop something of that, because if you're a Steve Urkel tripping over your toes every 2 seconds, eventually you're going to fall and bust your head open, and that big, big, beautiful egg brain is going to be splattered all over the world, and well, then you can't help nobody. All right, so, like I said, I'm gonna jump off this call. Those are 7 areas, and we'll go into each one more in depth later, because I gotta do what I gotta do here. So I've lived this, okay? I have not always been brilliant. As I told you, the egghead thing, that's so many girls that wanted to be. I slept in a bed with girls that wanted to, and didn't do anything with them. And they were like ready to go. You know what I mean? Like literally slept in a bed with them and didn't do anything. This was back in college. I want to do that now. And I lacked a certain sexual, number two, the procreative sexual intelligence. I lacked that. I didn't realize that. Why is she staring? Like I literally was looking. This girl was just looking me in the eyes, and she was just like, ah, like an hour before we slept in the same bed together. And I was like, why is she looking at me like that? I was like, well, I guess we're friends, and so I don't think she means me any harm. But my insides feel really good right now. I was in college, you guys. I was like almost 20 years old. So I didn't have a certain level of intelligence when it came to that. And she was extremely attractive. Like, anyway, she was my type too. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so I've been molded, programmed, flattened out, scared stupid by my parents and by society and by the church and all that stuff. And so I was scared to shine, and thus it scared me into shrinking. And so as a young kid, I was like those, football playing brutes. Sorry, guys, you're not brutes. That could just look at a woman and be like, yo, you want to get it on? And then they would just get it on, and make another human. I had that beaten out of me as a small child because of some of the experiences that the people that preceded me had. And so they said, hey, you can't talk to girls and you can't go after girls because you're gonna get terrible things are gonna happen to you, and then you're gonna do terrible things to them. And I was like, I'm 5 years old, and so I just learned to emotionally castrate myself and then not really be good with the ladies. And so I've overcome that in great ways, and I'm still overcoming it today. So I've been stupid in various areas, but not and unknowingly willfully. So I was taught to be stupid. But awareness means power, okay? Sometimes I glitch, sometimes I mess up, but when I do, I catch myself, I recalibrate, I forgive myself, I love myself, and I say, look, there's no shame in it. I'm not going to collapse and fall down. I'm just going to love myself and just upgrade, do better, get better. So that's what I have to say about this. Let's see so that's what I got to say about this, guys. I got to jump out of here because I'm going to be financially intelligent. I should have put that one in there. Financial intelligence. Yeah, it's going to be, let's make that number 8. Financial intelligence. But finances is so fake. Like, all the other areas can actually lend to financial intelligence. But I got to go and be rich. So we'll go into more depth. I'll put out a part 2 of this, and we'll actually go deeper into this. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for the engagement. Make sure you stay Apex. Before I go, let me drop my liner. Excuse me. We're going into a golden age, y'all. And those of you who get this information, or those of you who are remembering, we're not going to go into a golden age if you are throwing all of your energy into the world. If you're making everybody else happy, but you're not happy yourself. If you're making everybody else rich, but you're not rich yourself. If you're making everybody else feel safe, but you feel afraid and anxious and depressed yourself. This channel is about helping you to get to that level of joy and your golden age today. The golden age starts today with you, with your life. So if that's something that matters to you, make sure you get your copy of Hey God, Wake the Fuck Up. Link is in the description below. And pardon me, I changed my link process and it just messed it up. So anyway, if you check out any of my other videos, the link is in there. You can find my book on Amazon.com, or you can just copy and paste the links that are in the description to this video. and find a wonderful copy for yourself. So anyway, thank you so much for joining. My name is Dr. Merlin Tsai, and I woke up many years ago. God shook me up, woke me up, and reminded me that I was here for something greater than I had been taught. And so we're creating this golden age together, folks, but we have to be selfish enough to allow the golden age to happen for us, for our families, and then the greater society will see that, and they'll say, whoa, what are you doing? And guess what? That's how we make the world a beautiful place. All right, so look, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being awesome, and I'm going to get out of here. Stay Apex.